I'm gonna hit record. All right, we're recording. Um, so I ran this thing. All right, back story. Uh, there are some really weird issues that happen in Karma that can look like this. I don't know if you've seen this, Scott. Um,
Yeah.
and it has to do with our Karma environment and vue-test-utils not playing nicely. Vue-test-utils is kind of to blame because vue-test-utils touches stuff and doesn't clean up after itself really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where somehow there's these like forever loops that get made. Um, and the really sad thing is that it's not necessarily within the file that this failed in. It could be. It's not necessarily within the file here that it failed in. So when we first ran into this issue, I saw this and I was really disappointed and really kind of had no idea what to do. But as I dug into it and started realizing the core issue is just like vue-test-utils is not cleaning up after itself. Started seeing what can I send to vue-test-utils? What are some of the common things as I debug this that might just totally avoid this scenario? And so there's three things that you really need to do for every Karma spec that uses vue-test-utils. So this is just what a naive thing would look like, where we just create the component, I'm mounting it, and I pass props to it. I wish it did this, and it does this in Jest nicely. But in Karma, we have to do extra stuff for whatever reason. We have to create a local view. This can be created outside the whole describe. And we use local view to extend the component. So this is part of when Jest does its violation onto the component to mess it up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to do it on the extension of the component, and we don't run into any issues on that component specifically. We pass in that local view so that if Jest does any stubbing or whatever, it just uses that local view instance rather than the global view instance. And then lastly, this sync false is really important for two reasons. One, and I think we've talked about this, but one, because this is going to be the new default in vue-test-utils later on. And two, some of the forever loops are tied to are tied to its like custom sync false properties or whatever. So these are the three things that we want to make sure every call to shallow mount or mount in vue-test-utils use. So how do we do that? Well, I ran here's a quick regex to look for calls to shallow mount and mount that do not have extend in them.
Oh, okay.
And so this is going to be a pretty good size of tests that are not conforming to this. And when I run it, I see that there's a few of them already. I've already been changing some on my local machine, so we're pretty good. But it's not a lot, but it's somewhat significant. It's 67.
Okay.
But they're like really easy to fix. So I'm kind of thinking, let's just make one big MR fixing all of these.
These tests aren't failing, but have the potential to fail with that error you showed me in the beginning.
Yeah, and potential to fail unrelated tests. That's the
Okay.
really frustrating thing. So like one thing is you could try to dive into it and see what's actually failing here. I think the easiest thing is going to be, let's just make sure we're doing the right thing globally.
And then in addition to this MR, should we have a follow-up ticket that maybe does this, like, you know how we started building that scan of like, don't make a Jest test with the same name as a Karma? Like maybe we can do something that's like, hey, if you're going to add Jest or vue-test-utils to a Karma file, like do the same grep. And if there's a file without an extend, then we have to fail it, because then you're introducing a change that will then defeat the purpose of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good point. I think the easy thing to grep would be any change to we should really avoid adding any new karma files. If we do touch a karma file, we should not do vue-test-utils on it. We should move it to jest first and then do vue-test-utils on it.
Is there a potential someone would remove the local, like create local view, or is there a potential? Yeah, I guess.
No, that's a really good question. I think there's that potential, but hopefully, like, I don't know.
No,
We
no,
really should do
I
some
see.
linking on this.
I see what you're saying. I think that's a good point. Saying like, well, if you're gonna add vue-test-utils, let's just move this test to jest.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's what we should have a linter, and maybe it could even be an ESLint too. Like maybe we can just add our own little custom ESLint rule.
mm-hmm.
So you can make it a DangerBot rule. Downside to that is DangerBot, for whatever reason, doesn't work on forks. So it would never catch it for a community contribution. But if we make it like a little ESLint rule where we can't see for any new, or maybe we just add a rule saying we can't import vue-test-utils if it's inside our karma directory, and we add disables for the ones that are already there. That might be a good solution. But yeah, we'll talk about that. I think we should create a follow-up on it.
Cool.
Ideally, we would have just been able to do the jestedness and move these things to jest quicker, but that is taking some time, mainly because of other things taking time. So, yeah. So if you wanted to help me out, we could just pair up on this same screen, or if you want to do this locally on your screen too. That comment that I sent has the grep command that just gives you a list of them.
Okay.
And I'm just going to start at the top, and if you want to just start at the bottom and work up, and as we meet somewhere in the middle, then we'd resolved all of them. So,
do you have a branch that you're working on?
I do. Let me commit this and push it up.
Okay.
And I added that branch to that comment too.
Oh, FE fix karma.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just updating GDK really quick.
Come on, Pushy. You can do it. Oh, what? Let's try that again. Oh my god. Okay. Whew. Man, this is scary stuff. All right. So, yeah, I'm just going to start at the top here and work my way down. There's some that are okay. So here's an example of one where we do the extend technically outside that. I look at this, I sync false. I'm looking at this, I'm like, that's fine. So I'm just going to keep moving on. And then here's another one, I think, where we do the extend. Oh, we don't do the extend there. Oh, this would be an interesting one. Oh, this is the actual file that's been failing. Oh, no, we do the extend here and a before each. But I see we're not doing sync false and other things. So this is a more interesting one. And here's another issue that I have too. Sometimes we call shallow mounts multiple times in the same file. And I really think because of the number of properties and the hand holding we have to do with this, I really like doing it where we only call it once. We wrap it in a function at least. So I'm going to go ahead and make that change where we can wrap it in a function. And this is similar to what we've done previously in the past. Yeah. I'm just going to steal this one.
So the reason that we don't want multiple shallows is just to avoid potential flaky tests, or is there like a specific bug that you've?
It's because every call to shallow needs these special stuff. And if I have 4 calls to shallow, like I'm adding like
yeah. Okay.
I like having, and this is also nice to like encapsulate default props and other things. So I've gone ahead and taken the liberty to just, for these files that we're doing, that we do multiple, where these files where we call this multiple times, I've taken the liberty to just do it,
Cool.
to rewrite it a little bit.
Really quick, my grep no matches found JavaScripts. That's weird. I'm running your grep command. That's just a folder, right? That's not. What folder are you running it in?
I'm running it in GitLab.
That's so weird. Git grep shall mount. Mm-hmm. Would you mind just for the sake of time pasting into our private chat or something so I can.
I could paste this list. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me do that, and let me. I'll send it to you on Slack.
Cool.
Where is Slack? Oh no, my private conversations. Oh, all right. Where are we going? Here we are. Here's the list. It's a little big, I think. Oh, do I have a limit? What?
No, if you do a snippet. If you do a snippet.
How does that work? What do you mean?
Like you can do a code snippet, and I think it'll let you go bigger.
Create new. What? So cool. And I'll copy this just in case too. It might be because I'm using. You may need to install Perl for this special regex. Apparently grep's expression matcher doesn't have all the regex features. So this big E does a Perl regex or whatever.
Okay.
Perl as I think so. Don't quote me on it. Okay. Cool. I didn't know I could do these snippets. That's really awesome. Okay. Very cool.
Cool.
Nice. Thanks for calling it out. All right. Now I need to replace these shallow mounts. So here we do create component. All right. I think we can call props data. Apparently we're getting the props data somewhere else. Okay. Let's see. We have another shallow mount. All right. Create component. Here we have another shallow mount. Create component. Call it right. And then lastly, we have another shallow mount. Oh, we do a timeout too. We won't worry about that. That's interesting. All right. And I'm not even running these tests. I'm kind of anticipating this first round to be a little. We'll get some feedback from our CI. But I just wanted to go through this at least just to get started. All right, I think with this file we only have one now.
So yeah, this that's weird. Yeah, this I'm going at the last one in. Oh wow, this will knock out 10 of them. But so it does I'm just talking through it to make sure we're on the same page. Yep. So it does in every it block. We're doing a shallow mount with component, and component is local vue.extend project list item.
Yeah, we should be good. We just want to make sure that we pass the local view to there.
Yep.
So every call to shallow mount, we've got to pass the local view. We've got to do it on an extended component, and we got to do sync false. So if every one of them is doing that, we should be good.
Can I share my screen with you?
You're starting with the bottom? Yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen. You can share your screen.
It's project list item spec is the one I'm. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So we have local view extend project list item, and then in every single wrapper, shallow mount component options sync false.
Yeah, I think we should be good. So that one.
Does this need to be local view is create local view, or local view is the extended component?
It should be local view. So
Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
you create the local view instance, and then when you mount, you have to give vue-test-utils the local view instance
Cool.
that way. So yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool. All right, I'll go back to sharing my screen for all of those in television. Here we do create local view. So technically, and I'm gonna go ahead and move this because this can happen outside of the create component. Oh, this is interesting. The create component isn't in, is outside the, oh, and then we do the wrapper like that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So that was create epic. Let's close some of these files. Related items. Here we got create local view. We can move that outside of here. And we're gonna do local view.extend. And we're gonna do sync false. All right. Related items. Yep. Right. Here we got local view. We can move that outside. We extend.
So the shallow mounted component needs to be local view extended.
Yep, like this. Yep. If it's view extended, that would cause issues probably. So finicky, I know. I get nervous that some people be like, well, why are we even using vue-test-utils? Like, there's a lot of really great things we get from it. All right. Shallow mounts, the state tooltip, we got a local view extend. We're gonna pass local view, sync false. All right, we're doing any other mounts in here? Nope. Awesome. That was state tooltip. Let's go to tree item body spec. All right, where are we doing our mount? Okay.
And is mount different? Do we need to handle mount different from shallow mount? No.
It should be the same. That should be fine. Good question. Tree item body, and we want to extend it. Passing like view, we want to sync false. Awesome. You get any mounts anywhere else? Nope, we're good. That was tree item body spec, tree item removal spec. Right, this local view, we've been putting outside, so we have to keep it outside for consistency. Local view dot extend sync false. Do you do any other mounts here? No, you do not. Oh. Tree item spec. Local view. All right, we're gonna do local view dot extend sync. Yeah, the more I'm doing this, the more I'm thinking, you gotta do something to prevent this from happening again.
Right, because like we're doing all that. That was kind of my point before. Is like we're doing all this work, and then what if somehow this happens again?
This is a good question. Now, if it happens again, we could just create, more pair programming content for. But yeah, this is a good question. And I think, yeah, the sooner we can do something to prevent it, the better, probably. All right, here we've got mount, and I see here we're not even importing create local view, so I'm gonna do that. All right, and we call, oh, this is one of those where we call mount multiple times. All right. Oh, we're not even destroying the wrapper. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to try to fix this.
Well, the wrapper is isolated to the it block, so you wouldn't need to destroy it, right? Because they're not generating it in the outer scope.
You're asking good questions. Karma's like really weird. So karma, like, if we're doing a shallow mount too, we're probably okay.
No, so I guess my point's like, so on line 20, we have const wrapper shallow mount, and then on line 28, we have const wrapper shallow mount. Why would you need to clean up wrapper if it's isolated to the scope of the function?
If we had mounted to the DOM, we'd be in a problem because that means that the HTML of that's is going to be shared in the next test. Like, we do need these wrappers to clean up themselves. So if we're doing just a shallow mount and we're not mounted to the DOM, we're probably fine. But we have run into issues, and you could tell by the inflection of my voice how confident I am in what I'm saying. We have run into some issues where things aren't cleaning up themselves, and it's kind of still being piggybacked on another. And as you've dived into our code, you see we do stuff in Vue, but sometimes we're also reading from the DOM inside of Vue.
Yep.
It can cause issues if we had something that didn't clean up itself. There's a number of just really funky issues that are solved by Jest because these tests are sandboxed. There's a number of really funky issues that just we run into when it's not. So I'm gonna try to pull this wrapper instance out, and so that we can make sure we're destroying it too, just to be extra safe. But you're probably right. We're fine without it. But
okay.
But I get nervous.
Sure. Yeah. I mean.
And I think you can do this. So we're probably fine. But we'll see what happens. Gotta extend. But yeah, thanks for pointing out.
I mean, and yeah, also you could theoretically just hoist wrapper and then just assign wrapper to the shallow mount in each it block, and then wrapper.destroy in the after each. You could also do that, right? Like, you wouldn't have to create wrapper. You could just hoist the wrapper like you did, and then see on line 31 const wrapper equals shallow mount. You can just remove the const.
Yeah. And that's what I think. I think right, and I think doing that should be fine. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Looks like all of these are using days. Oh, look, we kind of do that over here. That's interesting. Looks like all these are using days, so we're going to leave that as like a default thing, and then we'll add these props to it. Okay. We'll see what happens. All right, so here we've got active day, and then we're going to create wrapper active day. Okay, here we got that. All right. Okay, here we got that. I know what you gotta be thinking, Scott. You're like, what is this guy doing? I pinged him on my MR, and he's going on these rabbit holes.
I hadn't thought about that yet.
You're right, and the answer is you're right.
No, I'm always down to pair because I always learn so much from it, and then in the future, I just like if I come across something like this, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what to do. Instead of thrashing.
So this one's interesting. We do a mount sometimes. So we did a shallow mount at one point, but then we did a mount in another one. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add another parameter here called mount fn, and I'm going to default it to shallow mounts. And we're going to call mount fn here. But down here, I'm going to create wrapper pass-in mount. I'm not sure why we're doing that, but just to
it feels good.
Yeah. All right, here's one. Create the store. We've mounted this component. we're doing vue-extend. I think that's going to cause issues. So I should be able to do local vue.extend. We shouldn't need vue anymore, right? Oh, we also use vue next tick. No, I think we can use local vue next tick. Now we don't need it. Mounts, opacity of the component, sync false, local commands, local view. Do we have any other mounties? Nope. Good. App spec. View.
Yeah, a lot of them seem to just be missing the local view that extends the component, and then it has everything else.
That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, those are easy to fix. I am at project spec. What component are you at?
Node actions spec at the bottom.
Okay.
Create wrapper. I haven't seen that before.
Is this like just a function that we've made?
No. It's from test-utils.
Are you serious? Oh, that's
yeah,
really
in
cool.
node actions spec.js.
Node actions spec. Whoa! No idea what's going on there. Maybe it's because why would we do that?
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. And now because I have git grep, or I have this git plugin, I get to see Simon's name right next to it. And it's going to be online. So I'm sure Simon had a good reason. Okay. I'll give him a warning. His name.
I wonder what that's. Create wrapper.
I think it's because vue-test-utils wraps every element with helper functions. So it's got to be just that bit. Let's take a regular DOM element, whatever. Oh, and that's what it is. Oh, that totally makes sense. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you can also use another alternative, and let's not change it here because it's unrelated. That's what it is. So roots, I was thinking like, what are you talking about? Like, is this just the root element? Like, why are we not just using wrapper? But this has got to be some sort of ref nested inside. It's gonna give me just a regular element. But we like using like these kind of helper functions where we can see what was emitted or whatever.
Right.
And I think it's also gonna get, right. So one other thing you can do, and we may not have been aware of this at the time, and I'm not entirely sure if this is the right format, but you can do find based on the ref, and it will find the ref.
Should we change? Do you want me to change that in this?
No, let's not do it here because that's okay. Kind of unrelated. But
okay.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And thanks for bringing that up. That was a good thing to capture for those at home. All right, do we have any other notes? Nope. There's a scary thing that might happen. Where am I? I'm not as far down as I thought I was. All right, here we do notes. Oh, we call notes lots of times. Okay, that one works. There's a scary thing that might happen when we add sync false to something that's not sync false. We may need to revisit it and add, next ticks around places. This thing could actually change the.
So we have to see when we run the test if a bunch of shit fails.
Yes, and I'm gonna just let CI do that.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Weird question. If you are creating the local view in the before each, and then local view.use vuex, is there anything special you need to do if we're using UX on local view before we extend it, or it should be okay?
Yeah, that's the way. That's the suggested way of doing it, and that's also why it's suggested to put local view outside everything, because it's supposed to be this shared view instance, but we're just scoping it to this spec.
Okay, so I'll move local view outside of the describe block, and then should we use the vuex inside of the before each, or move it outside too?
I wouldn't do inside the before each. You definitely don't. Yeah, I've been going throughout the test, and this isn't going to cause issues, but just to be consistent, we only need one local view instance for the whole spec.
Cool.
And yeah, so usually you'll see local view.use vuex, and that's all you need to worry about. And then everything else is the same.
I'll move it outside.
Okay, awesome. All right, how was that time ago? Looks like this one is doing sync false and things. Do you have any more mounts? Or you're not? Awesome. Metrics reports thing. Local view. Looks like we're extending it. We mount it. Do we have any other calls for mounts? We do. We have a whole lot. Yeah, fix that here. Maybe. Okay. Local view. We're gonna mount. Passing stuff. All right. We have any other call to mount that's not just mount component thing? We do not. We should be good to go. Settings drop down. In place.
Oh no.
Create component. Yep, this one, local view. So here's an interesting one. In settings drop down, it's doing something similar to what you're talking about. Yes, we're doing store, extending the store. Then we call the real mount. And we need to do local view extend here. And we need to do sync false. We could totally create an ESLint rule about making sure you're always having sync false and things like that. That's probably a really good idea. Hopefully it becomes more than a good idea. Scott's like, it took Paul 3 days to get to my MR. He's getting like, I know.
It's not my MR. I inherited that.
I know. Yeah, that's an interesting one. All right. Local view, just create local view. Definitely don't want to use the real view. We want to do sync false. We're going to pass local view. All right. Anywhere else we're using real view? Nope. Great. All right. And just so that I'm actually going to move this here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Move that there. So, oh, then we can do this really quickly. All right. Frequent items list item. All right. I'm running dangerously close to my stopping point. Local view.extend. We don't want to use view.extend. Oh, I lost it. Oh man, oh my god. Search component. All right, so we need to pass local view sync false to here. And we can get rid of this bit now. And hopefully we get rid of view using somewhere else. Oh, we are. I'm pretty sure I can use local view next tick. All right, but it'd probably be nice, even better to just use the VMs next tick. But I don't worry about that. Now I can get rid of that.
Did the test fail?
I haven't run the test.
Oh, you're just preparing.
Yeah. Well, this is really interesting. Calling mounts and destroy here. I'll try not to worry about that. All right. Oh, we should be meeting each other pretty soon. Where are you at?
Panel type spec.
Oh, cool. We're really close to each other. I'm at manual variables form spec.
Manual variable.
I'm like just 10 lines above you, maybe.
Manual. Vulnerability.
All right.
Tree.
Family is home, which was.
Oh, wow. We're really close.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to commit what I have right now. Let me double check this file, make sure I'm good, because the bell tolls for me.
Cool. I actually have a question before we bounce.
Yeah.
Store. How do you feel about? This is man. So, do you want the store to be created in the before each, or should we just have one store like the local view? Like store equals create store from.
No, store would probably be in the before each, so you shouldn't have to move store at all. That can just be in the before each.
Okay, so we'll pass that because I'm building like a create component for panel type spec, and they pass store to it. So I was like, trying to figure out what to do with it. Okay.
Yeah, don't need to touch store. The only thing you need to do with the local view when you have UX is just needs to use UX. But the store stuff, like whenever that's created in the life cycle of the test, like shouldn't have to move anything about the store specifically. Just the local view instance can be hoisted up. Cool. I'm going to stop recording. And thanks for hopping on and knocking this out real fast.
Sure.
So I forgot where I stopped at.
Manual variables form spec.
Okay, right. And I pushed those up too. So
cool. So we only have five more I can probably knock out today.
Yeah, and if you want to create the merge request, that'd be awesome. So Sweet. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Sounds good, man.
See you later.
Bye. Thank you.